collective groan heard around the world was when it was reported that Chad Gable was going to turn into Shorty G was palpable. This now infamous gimmick.
Bro, the Shorty G gimmick was why? It's just basically just, it's one of those things that, you know what, we could blame Vince McMahon for this, because the name Shorty G, no. Hey, yo, what's happening, people? It's your boy Blaze here, back to you with the #1 here for Venomous Reactions, and today we're going to be taking a look at a video from WrestleMania. And this is 10 WWE wrestlers who ruined themselves with a new look. I ain't gonna hold you. You know, when wrestlers come back with a brand new look, 9 times out of 10 it ain't gonna work, and it's not gonna fly with the fans that are used to them having a unique, distinctive look. But they want to try something new, and people is really not feeling it. And we're gonna see which wrestlers made the cut according to WrestleMania. So without further ado, let's get into it. Yes, sir.
10 WWE wrestlers who ruined themselves with a new look. Number 10, Sheamus. Now, upon returning to WWE following WrestleMania 31, the idea was for Sheamus to re-debut with a brand new look. Sheamus would debut a new Mohawk-style haircut, and whilst he looked vastly different, the fans weren't exactly receptive to it. The crowd would often heckle the former WWE champion with chants of, "You look stupid," which definitely impacted a lot of Sheamus's matches early on. Sheamus, though, wouldn't let the negativity get to him, and he spoke out about how the fans were jealous of him. Sheamus in time would revert back to his prior look, and whilst the Mohawk look was one of the worst looks of his career, his body of work at the time was still incredibly high. Number 9, Dolph Ziggler. One of the things that made Dolph Ziggler stand out was his long blonde hair. Without this look, Ziggler would just look like another generic wrestler. Unfortunately, WWE attempted to ruin Ziggler's presentation as he randomly showed up to the April 18th, 2011 edition of Raw sporting a new hairstyle. Ziggler cut his hair short and dyed it brown. He looked incredibly generic, and it was almost as if all the confidence was drained from him. Luckily, Ziggler was allowed to dye his hair back shortly after, but this was an absolutely terrible idea that should have never been approved. According to...
Man, facts, man. Anyone that knows Dolph Ziggler, they associate him with having the blonde hair, but when he went with the short cut and dyed it brown, it was like, okay, what is this supposed to do? Like, is this supposed to make you look any more outstanding and pretty much stand out? But when he came with that look, it was like a basic hell no, bro. Go back to being blonde, man. That's what we know you for. Not this short brown cut BS. Like, no.
Ziggler himself, he was told that the new haircut would make him look more credible. The crazy thing was that Ziggler didn't need a new look, he just needed to win more matches. It was incredibly backwards booking from WWE. Number 8, The Undertaker. It's common knowledge that The Undertaker wasn't exactly in favor of bringing back the dead man persona in 2004. The Undertaker loved the American Badass persona as he believed it gave him so much more range as a performer, and to his credit, he was right.
Did.
When The Undertaker returned as the Dead Man at WrestleMania 20, the idea was that the Dead Man would be back alongside Paul Bearer, yet The Undertaker would keep a lot of his moves from his American Badass days. This was 100% the right call. The WWE product had vastly changed since The Undertaker was last an undead zombie, and Taker having slow, lifeless matches would not have been appropriate for the Ruthless Aggression era audience. Interestingly, on the first SmackDown following WrestleMania 20, The Undertaker would appear on SmackDown wearing his trademark bandana from his prior persona. This led to a lot of confusion at the time, as The Undertaker once again just looked like the American Badass, specifically Big Evil. Now, the inclusion of the bandana was a one-time deal, as The Undertaker would ditch it moving forward, which was probably the right move. Number 7, Triple H.
It was, like, cause having the bandana from his previous persona, it wouldn't apply with the return of the dead man. So I get the fact that they use that as a one-off. So it basically showcased that, you basically played a minor part as the reason why this gimmick got buried, according to Undertaker delivering that tombstone to Paul Heyman. Like, I went through a whole lot of shit to get what I wanted at Survivor Series. That match with good old Vinnie Mac. And you put me through hell. So the hell you gave me, oh, I'm going to get that back. Even if it's just for a little bit, I'm getting it back.
In 2025, it's hard to imagine Triple H with any other haircut than being completely bald. However, when the game first cut his hair in late 2012, the look he went for looked terrible. The game had yet to embrace being bald, and he had this short style haircut which didn't suit him whatsoever. Triple H would keep this look for some time and it just felt weird and off. In relation to why the former WWE champion cut his hair in the first place, this is what he had to say during an interview with the Morning Buzz. I just couldn't wait for the time when I could finally get rid of it. It's the weirdest thing. To me, it wasn't that big of a deal, and I didn't really put that much thought into it. But then I literally did it in the morning, drove to the office, there was a couple of people outside. I took a few pictures as I was walking in and went inside. I got upstairs, it wasn't even 10 minutes later, and someone came up, "Dude, you're all over TMZ that you cut your hair." By the time 2014 rolled around, the game would firmly embrace the bold look, and it looked fantastic on him. Number 6, Chad Gable.
It did.
A collective groan heard around the world was when it was reported that Chad Gable was going to turn into Shorty G was palpable. This now infamous gimmick.
Bro, the Shorty G gimmick was why? It's just basically just, it's one of those things that, you know what, we could blame Vince McMahon for this, because the name Shorty G, no, it didn't work then. Damn sure won't work now. Like, dude, you could have kept this name original. Like, Chad Gable is already an established name. Why change it? Lord, the Shorty G gimmick was El Finito. Like, no, nobody was feeling that.
Gimmick was forced on Gable's height and nothing else. The gimmick was evidently designed to make Vince McMahon laugh, and it was never going to get Gable over on the main roster. To represent the gimmick change, Gable would debut hideous new ring attire, which made him look ridiculous, and now he looked like a defined comedic character. According to Gable, during an appearance on After the Bell, he saw the gimmick change as an opportunity. When I finished King of the Ring, it was explained to me that this was the direction we were going. I'm not the type of guy that's gonna go in, ask for an opportunity, and when given it, complain about it. That's not my philosophy on life. I got my opportunity. Is it the perfect situation? No. I did continue on by saying, in amateur wrestling, me being short was not the thing, because I was on a team with 55, 60 kilo guys who were not even 5 foot. I was on the taller end. It was fine, I got the opportunity I asked for, but it started going off the rails when I was doing segments with guys that I'm taller than. I'm gonna try and give it every ounce of energy I have because I'm committed to this. The gimmick lasted around a year.
That's one way of looking at it.
Failed to impact Gable's credibility. Gable, particularly over the past 5 years, has sustained a reputation for making everything work. Whether Gable is a menacing heel or a face wearing the worst attire imaginable, Gable is going to put his life and soul into the respective character.
And that's one thing I can appreciate about Chad Gable, man. Like, he puts his all into everything that he does. No matter how ridiculous it is, he's going to give it beyond 100%, like 200, 300, 400%. No matter if it's like in-ring work or promo work. Rather him being hilarious or him being serious. He's going to give it all in the ring, and we love him for it.
Number 5, Kane. The idea of Kane turning into a corporate stooge could have worked. That's if the character wasn't presented within the law and realm of Kane's established continuity. Unfortunately, the major issue with the corporate Kane persona was the horrendous look that he would debut. Kane would wear suit pants and slacks to wrestle, and Kane just lost all credibility and legitimacy as a performer. This man was supposed to be one of the most terrifying pro wrestlers on the entire roster, but he looked like a total joke. The slacks in particular made it extremely difficult for Kane to have good matches, and it was a surprise that he didn't hurt himself wrestling in that style of footwear. The persona and the attire had zero benefit to Kane or his legacy, and in hindsight, it was just a terrible idea from a stagnant WWE creative team. Number 4, Keith Lee. But there was a lot of concern for
this one
Keith
was
Lee's
gonna
main
be up.
roster call-up. Vince McMahon was known for messing up several notable NXT call-ups, and with Lee being on the larger side, it was theorized that McMahon would take issue with Lee's weight, despite it not impacting his work in any way, shape, or form. To the surprise of nobody, McMahon changed Lee's gimmick entirely, and he would also insist that Lee wear a generic singlet. Fans instantly called out WWE for this, as Lee looked like a default creator wrestler. What WWE failed to understand was the fact that he wore traditional trunks despite being a larger wrestler was one of the reasons why he stood out in the first place. When Lee was released from WWE, he would poke fun at the singlet, and it once again highlighted just how out of touch McMahon was with modern day wrestling. Number 3, Karrion.
Yo, when they changed his name to Bearcat Lee, I mean, I get the premise as to why they did it, but still, you changed his whole look around. It even went through a whole character name change. And for what? Just for him to be let go like not even what, a few weeks after the name change. And it didn't make sense. Keith Lee already proven the fact that he could wrestle without his weight impacting his performance in the ring. So why change something if it ain't broken? And WrestleMania pointed out that shows how out of touch Vince was, and I'm glad he's no longer in the control of things, cause dude.
Karrion Cross. Similarly to Keith Lee, Karrion Cross was another name that was massively let down by an appearance change upon debuting on the WWE main roster. Cross would debut a new attire, which would feature a bizarre borderline comedic helmet during his entrance, and then suspenders for his in-ring attire. Fans loathed this attire choice, as Cross looked like a complete joke, and it was impossible to even take him seriously. Cross quite rightly took issue with the attire, and he would discuss this during an appearance on the Two Man Power Trip podcast. What I was told was this was going to be an upgraded version of what I was previously doing in NXT. Upgraded. A bigger and better version of what I did. And they said they wanted to give me new music and they wanted to switch up my entrance a little bit. And then we got to this mock-up of this outfit and it looked cheap and horrendous. And I said, surely this is just a concept. This is not what they're actually trying to manufacture or engineer, because this is a billion-dollar company and this looks like trash. Surely enough, the day came and we got the costume. It was like, boy, I don't know about this. Thankfully, when Triple H would bring Cross back in 2022, this horrific attire would be nowhere to be seen. Number 2.
And thank God they got rid of it when he came back, because if they were going to have him do that again, I'll be like, yo, what's the point? What's the point of even bringing him back if you're going to go back to this bullshit? Like, no. Karrion Cross was already good with the attire he had until Vince McMahon completely just shitted on everything Karrion Cross was about. And that, oh my God, that secondhand bang mask that they had him wear during his entrance to the ring. Thank God those days are over with. Thank God.
Goldberg mainly went between two attires during his pro wrestling career. When Goldberg was in WCW, he would wear traditional black trunks, and this attire was perfect for his no-nonsense persona. In WWE, he would opt for a slightly longer trunks with a white trim, and whilst fans preferred the black, the attire variation was still solid. Unfortunately, in 2021, Goldberg decided to debut a new look for his Royal Rumble match versus Drew McIntyre, and the attire made fans question what on earth Goldberg was even thinking. Goldberg would debut baggy black shorts, and all the aura had evaporated the moment Goldberg was seen on camera with a new look. They were a terrible fit, and it looked like Goldberg had just woken up to take the dog outside for a walk. It was reported that the attire was worn because the Hall of Famer didn't have enough time to prepare for the match. But was this really the best option? It was bold and unimaginative. And number 1, Baron Corbin. When Baron Corbin took on the authoritative role in WWE, WWE's bold idea was to have Corbin wrestle in a shirt and suit pants, just like Corporate Kane. Corbin looked ridiculous in this attire, and it made no sense.
I didn't get this one
Just
either.
because Corbin had power backstage in kayfabe, why did he need to wrestle in the most uncomfortable attire imaginable? It was like WWE needed to remind fans of Corbin's gimmick at all times. The shocking thing was, Corbin wore this dreadful attire to retire Kurt Angle at WrestleMania 35, which is a fact that still bewilders fans several years later. But this wasn't the only new look that Corbin would debut that was hated by the audience. The October 17th, 2022 edition of Raw saw Corbin and JBL come to the ring ahead of Corbin's match with Dolph Ziggler. But fans weren't talking about Corbin and JBL's partnership. All they could focus on was the horrendous attire that Corbin was wearing. Corbin was wearing long pants and a vest, but the color scheme was black and cream. This was the worst attire on the roster at the time, and thankfully it was just a one-time deal. But there you have it, folks. 10 WWE wrestlers who ruined themselves with a new look. Be sure to...
Yeah, those looks were atrocious, and I don't know who came up with the concept of those, but those concepts should have went to the vault and never seen the light of day. Oh man, but Baron Corbin had it the worst though, bro. That whole thing with him and JBL was not the business at all, and they could have done better. They could have done better with him. They could have done better with Keith Lee. They could have done better with Cody Cross. It just goes back to the whole perspective of, if they already have like a distinctive look, why fix it? Why fix it? And make people despise the character with the whole appearance look and name change, and it's just some things that they're better left the way they are, in my view. But I want to know from y'all point of view, which look was the most atrocious? Yo, let the comment section have it. And as always, thank y'all for tuning in. Hopefully y'all enjoyed this one, and don't forget to tell your peoples across the globe, come kick it with your boys. This one gets solid time, and you already know what to do next, my peoples. Follow your boy on social media right over yonder. And this is your boy Blaze here saying Chuck the Deuce, and I will see y'all in the next video. And I'm out.